Welcome to Accessibility on Deck. Story time. Here is a little background information. I have been sighted majority of my life and I am in my mid 40s, and within the last 4 years or so my vision has steadily been declining. So I am trying to figure out life. My self-esteem was low, and I'm just like wondering, how am I going to support my family? And inflation is ridiculous right now. Like, do y'all know that milk is still $8? Do y'all know that eggs are still $8 in some places? So, yeah, I knew I needed to do something because Social Security definitely was not enough, and I needed to go back to work. So, I went on the journey. And y'all, it's been a long journey, but let me tell y'all what happened on this journey. Now I got a job. Now, let me tell y'all, before I get into this, I'm not going to say the name of the company or the agency that I went through, but yeah, that was a whole interesting experience in itself, because this was a place that but works with people who have disabilities, and they try to help them get employment. I'll just leave it at that. Now, that whole situation was very interesting because I'm someone, again, with a vision issue, and it was not what I thought it was going to be. Now, I will say this, that, my experience is not everybody's experience, and I'm sure that people have had better experiences than I have. So let me just put that out there for y'all. So before I even got the job, I went through, like I said, a temp agency, or I didn't say, but I did go through a temp agency, and, they told me to come down. I've actually worked with them before, so I was familiar, and I went down there, and they had me take a computer test. So any kind of like office kind of thing that you're going to be doing, they make you take a computer test. So and I required the JAWS software. So if you are visually impaired, that is what JAWS is. But if you are not visually impaired, then JAWS is a screen reader software that reads everything on the computer for you, so you know what's there. And so at this place, they only had one computer that had the JAWS software on it. Not a problem, because I wasn't expecting it to be on it anyway. But they had it. But the problem was that the tech guy, did not know how to, fix any problems that came along with the software. So that was that, right? So we go through the whole thing. Like I said, I couldn't take the computer test because the JAWS software was not working, and the guy didn't know how to fix it. And the person that he was working with was in some big meeting and was not available. So they told me, oh, you can finish it at home. So needless to say, I did not, but they went on with the whole hiring process anyway. And so I get placed with the company that I was working with, and right before I accepted a position, I sent the email to the temp agency asking about the accommodations, because I'm going to need the JAWS accommodations, since I'm going to be doing stuff on the computer. I need that software. So they told me, okay, you go downtown, get your ID, and then report to the location. Not a problem. I went and did all of that. When I got downtown, the machine that takes your ID picture and everything was down, so nobody could get an ID. So I was just like, okay, I let the temp agency know what was happening, and then that I was on my way to the actual job site. Now, when I got there, I was nervous. I ain't gonna even lie. I was nervous because, here I am. They may not know that I'm visually impaired. They know I have some kind of disability, but I don't think they knew what kind. So as I'm walking, I get to the place, get to the location. I got some people help me downstairs in the lobby. I was able to find the place, and then the security had opened the door for me. Yeah, so the security officer, or the security guard, she took me to the manager's office. And let me tell you, I'm sure I felt every eyeball on me when they saw me walking in that office with my white cane. Yes, so I just could imagine like everything that was going through their mind when I walked in. So they had me, sit down in the office of the manager, and I was told, things were real busy and hectic or whatever at the moment. Something, they were going through some kind of change or something, so they were just trying to get everything together. And then after about 20, 25 minutes or whatever, the manager came back and took me to a desk and said this was going to be my work area. She introduced me to, people that were around the area where her office was, and, that kind of thing. Ain't not a problem. So they sat me down next to this guy, and, he was very nice. He was the only one in there that was nice, called me by my name and, that kind of stuff. So I would say that there was definitely, there was a few people in there that were nice. And let me tell you, so I sat there and I was told someone was going to come and give me some reading material. Yes, reading material with no, so how, I got the white cane. How am I supposed to read anything really? I mean, I still have, a little vision, but not enough to be reading, something clearly. And, the girl came over, gave me some paperwork or whatever to look over. And I was just like, yeah, this is going to be real interesting. So then I want to say maybe about 30 minutes later, the manager came over and took me to another desk where it was going to be like my final desk because she put me in the wrong area. Yeah, so they brought me over to the new desk, and this was going to be my final like move or whatever. So I'm going to be officially at this desk. Y'all, when I tell you that once they put me there, no one came back to me the whole rest of the day. Like nobody came and told me to go to lunch. Nobody told me or asked me any questions like, well, what's my name? Like, where am I, what am I doing here? And nothing. They put me in the corner and they left me in the corner. And let me tell you, I just was just very amazed at, what was happening. And I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because they had, some kind of like system change or something that they were doing. So, okay, everybody's busy. Day one, I'm not really kind of expecting much, but I wasn't expecting that. So they left me in the corner. Now, speed past like all of the first day or first week things that you have to do. Like I said, because I came through a temp agency, there really was no paperwork for me to like fill out or anything. But when I got there, I was expecting during the first week that they would show me, pretty much like what I would be doing. And they kind of did for a little bit of it. They paired me with someone. She was very nice. And, I work with her pretty much doing like filing, fixing, helping them with their filing system, just throwing stuff out.
2,000 years later.
Now the foolishness begins. Now, like I said, I started around the fall, so beginning of September, and I was still didn't have an ID. I was told, it was going to take a while for me to get the ID, but I come to find out that you needed the ID definitely to get into not to get into the general building, but to get into the office suite. You had to get buzzed in, or, the security will let you in, or you had your ID to swipe so the door would unlock. So because I did not have my ID, and, I gave it a little bit because, downtown was, they had to fix the machine or whatever. So I knew there was nothing they could do about that there. And then, so yeah, I let some time go. About 2 weeks went past, and I kept asking about the ID. Now, everybody in there has an ID because there's another entrance that the workers could use to go in and, without going through the actual front of the suite. And also this ID badge lets you, out of the building on a different side where there is, stores and things like that. Okay, so let me tell y'all like the three main things that kind of was like the last straw for me. So, one of the things was the ID. There was another moment where they tried to leave me during the fire drill. Yes, they just ran out and tried to leave me during the fire drill. I gotta tell y'all that. And um, not getting the or no updates, no real updates on getting the JAWS software for me for my office computer. Now let me start with the fire drill because that seems that kind of really was like the last thing that kind of happened before I'll tell y'all what happened at the end. So you guys stay till the end to find out what happened at the end because some stuff happened at the end. And so so for 2 weeks, no, not 2 weeks, like a week, um they had been testing the building had been testing the fire alarm system, and they did say it was a test. So this was like after the fact. So the first time that the fire alarm went off, I'm like kind of like looking around. Nobody is moving in the office. Nobody's getting up. Nobody's going nowhere. I stand up, get my cane, get my purse, and I'm like, are we supposed to go anywhere? And nobody said nothing. When I tell y'all nobody said nothing. And I'm just like, so we not going nowhere during the fire drill? Oh, okay. So then the guy came on, the little fire marshal guy came on and said that, not the fire marshal, but the guy that runs the fire drills for the building came on and said that this was a test. You disregard, right? Not a problem. Then, a couple of days go by and then they do it again. And, this time, like I said, I was kind of looking around. Nobody was moving. So it was another test. The guy came on to speak and said it was a test. So I'm like, all right, this is real interesting. So the following week is when the real fire drill happened. And when I tell y'all, so they were aware that it was happening. So it was like a scheduled fire drill. And because they got emails on the computer, one of the coworkers that was sitting across from me was like, oh, yeah, I forgot they had sent us that email about it. Oh, okay. So y'all knew about this, but do you think they told me? They did not tell me. They did not tell any new employee that, yeah, we're going to have a fire drill coming up. So just, be prepared. This is where we got to go. They ain't tell me nothing. So the fire drill happens. When I tell you these people got up so fast and was running like there was an actual fire. And the supervisor, because I had to, the supervisor ran right past me. When I tell y'all, I was just like, wait a minute. Like, I know y'all not trying to leave the blonde girl. And, they were all laughing and hee, yeah, we can't leave the blonde girl. I said, you know what? I said, this will not be a good look for y'all because if something happens to me in here, it's going to be on y'all. And, so the manager came back, or the supervisor came back, and, she gave me her arm, and then we went out into the hallway with everybody else. I got my cane, and, so the people that work in the other offices on the floor, now they, like, all of them have seen me, and, a few of them have seen me before, but, now now that they know that there's somebody visually impaired on this floor. And there was no talk with the Yeah, so there was that. So yeah, they tried to leave me during the fire drill. Nobody, there was no extra follow up with the guy who runs the fire alarm system thing for the building. Nothing. The next thing that was really like bothersome was the ID. Like I said, I have been waiting, for some time now because there was no updates. I was told I was going to be, I was going to be made aware when I can go back downtown to go get my ID. So here comes the time after I done asked a few times, and then the main supervisor, she had a whole attitude with me because I was asking, and I had to let her know. I said, I do not have access to the office like my coworkers do. Y'all, they were putting a trash can at the door to keep the door ajar. And that was also like a hazard in itself. But, hey, but this is what they was doing. So yeah, so they the ID, after when I was inquiring about it, because like almost a whole month had went by before I got the new appointment to go back downtown to get the ID. So let me tell you, when I went down there, I made sure I asked them people. I said, well, how long did it take to get the ID machine fixed? Why, y'all? They told me the following week. So the day that I was up there, the beginning of September or so, the next week the machine was fixed. But they had me wait practically a whole month for me to go back down there to get the ID. And then in the meantime, they had hired a couple of new people, and let me tell y'all, they were people, they were regular people or whatever, nobody with a disability as far as I could tell. But when I tell y'all, they had all of the stuff, like it was quick, quick, quick. They had everything set up. They had, I don't know how they got, well, at that time I guess the machine was already working, so they already had their IDs, and everybody was talking to them and conversating, because oh yeah, along with me being there, that there's nobody talked to me. Like nobody, they barely had conversations. There were some people in the office, in different departments, that actually sparked conversation with me, but the immediate vicinity where I was working, they did not they did not talk to me. And they started to like come around a little bit, but yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me that I'm sitting right here and there's no conversation, there's no nothing, like you don't have no questions? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so that was the whole thing with the ID. So I did find out that the machine was already up and running, and I don't know why they waited so long for me to be able to send me back down there. But I did want the supervisor, the one that was working with me, actually told me they were trying to figure out how this was going to work. Those were her words. We're trying to figure out how this was going to work, meaning me in this office. And let me tell you, so let me move on into the last thing, which is the JAWS software that they were supposedly trying to get for me. So that took, I know that things don't move as fast, and it's going to take a while to get, but let me tell you, when it came to, pardon that loud noise, because I'm in the city, um you know um when they were ordering it, I didn't know like what the process was going to be. Like if there was going to be like another department had to purchase it and then they give it to the IT guy to install, or what. When I tell y'all, they did not include me in the process. And let me tell y'all that I introduced them to the people that I were working with to help me get the software, and they didn't want to work with them. The end. So let me tell you what happened at the end. So after all of that foolishness, and that was just a few things, because there was a whole lot more that was happening. But in the end, I pretty much, I had to let the people at the temp agency know what was happening, because the person I was working with to help me get the software, she was just like, look, you need to let them know, because this is ridiculous. I had never heard anything happening at a workplace that's been like it's been happening with you. So I let the people at the temp agency know. I scheduled the meeting, and on my lunch break, I went and had that phone call with that woman and told her everything that was happening. And so in the end, they told me, that I could resign from the position, that I didn't have to stay there if they're not getting the accommodation, that would be a good reason to resign from the place. So I said, okay. So I told her I would contact the IT guy one last time, because I had his phone number, because the supervisor told me he was going to call me. And so that day when that happened, he called me, so I just saved the number. So I was just like, okay, if anything, he'd be the one I can ask to get an update on the software. Fail. Yeah, so nothing happened with the IT guy, but I did, promise to contact him. So I called, I text, nothing. And so this was like on a Monday where I did all of this, and I gave it the whole day. And I said, if I didn't hear anything back, then I'm going to submit the letter of resignation. So pretty much that's what I did. So I submitted my letter of resignation, and I put in, they basically was not trying to get the JAWS, software from me. And they kept giving me the run around and said they was going to do this and they was going to do that. And the IT guy didn't even know he had to order it. So, you know, it was just a whole mess. So the next day, I got a call from the people from the temp agency, and they said, well, we see that you submitted the letter of resignation, and my supervisor would like to talk to you because this was, what was happening was very unfortunate, and she wants to talk to you. So fine, not a problem. So we scheduled it and whatever. And what they had me do is end up documenting what happened, and I guess probably just to cover them. But I don't. I don't blame the temp agency for for the actions of the company that I work for, but the temp agency had their own problems as well. But so yeah, so I ended up resigning from that position, and I had waited. I still continued to look. The temp agency did try to send me another placement, and I was just like, I can't. The one that they sent me was just too far for me to travel. So I just told them, I was not interested at that time, and just as quick, I was able to find my current job. So I do have another job, and everything is going well or whatever. So I do work with a company that assists people with all types of disabilities. So I'm in my element. I'm with my peoples. Hey, and I'm hoping that things are going to get better. But yeah, I just had to come on here and tell y'all this long story time. And I'm still debating. I think I still do have some time to put in a complaint with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And because there, I definitely believe that there's something there. So that's the story, y'all. For listening. Make sure you subscribe.